Welcome in. Hello. I'm just doing a casual live. I told you guys I'm gonna be going live more, so I wanted to come on and just talk with you guys about how saying no is your birthright. What does that mean? What does that mean? Saying no is your birthright. You may be wondering what that means if saying no is your birthright. Well, this is it. When you are coming into this world, you're not here to say yes to everything, especially things that don't serve you. Even as children, children are really good at setting boundaries. They know how to say no, they know how to have boundaries. And I think when we're adults, like we miss out on that part. We forget that we're allowed to say no, we forget that we're allowed to have boundaries. And so I wanted to hop on to talk about that. Like, you're allowed to have boundaries, even as a mom, even as an adult, right? Even as whoever you are, like you're allowed to say no, you're allowed to have boundaries. You're allowed to be someone that does not just tolerate the okey doke, tolerate basic stuff. You're allowed to have standards, you're allowed to have boundaries. You're allowed to decide the treatment that you get and the treatment that you will not get. Like, you're not supposed to just take everything for whatever it is. Um, you're allowed to have restrictions on who can come into your life and who can't come into your life. If you're someone who is a people pleaser, it's hard for you to have boundaries. It's hard for you to say no because you're always going to be thinking about what people think, what people will say, what people are going to say about you. You're always going to be thinking about that if you are a people pleaser. And that's why I don't support people pleasing. And I was one, and it ruined my life. It was misery. It's like being in jail. It literally was like being in jail in your mind when you're a people pleaser. And so I don't want you to be stuck in jail. Like, I want you to be someone who you're able to live the life of your dreams. You're able to actually decide what type of life you want. And saying no actually achieves that. Hi, hello, Rahul. Wow, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Yeah, when you say no, it's actually one of the most healthiest things you can do. And I used to think it was bad to say no. I used to think that it wasn't nice to say no to people. I used to think that saying no meant that, like, I'm trying to like block people from my life or kind of cause problems, right? Like, if you want to be someone who doesn't cause problems, then you say yes. That's how I thought. I thought that saying yes was how I stopped problems from happening, or I stopped being someone who was troublesome. And so I would say yes, like basically all the time. Like, I used to try to solve people's problems before they even asked me to, right? I used to try to help people like so hard, right? Like, basically like forcing it. And it was like, it's almost like your self-worth is tied in with people, people's perception of you, really. Like, your self-worth is tied into what people think about you. And I used to say that, like, I used to say yes. Hello, Amalia. Welcome. I used to say yes, and it was almost like I felt if I didn't say yes, then my value was reduced, right? If I wasn't available, then I wasn't a valuable person. If I wasn't someone who said yes, if I wasn't someone who was available, then it's like, who am I? Right? Like, that identity crisis. And so saying yes was just a reflection, or I guess a reflex, that just we always want to be available. And one of the worst parts is like when you say no and you see the other person's reaction and they're so sad, they're so unhappy, right? They get angry, whatever. Like, that used to also be the reason why I said yes, because I wanted to avoid that reaction that they gave. I wanted to avoid disappointing people. I wanted to be someone who didn't disappoint people. But when you start becoming the main character of your life, when you start being a woman who is intentional with her life and who knows her value and her worth does not come from her saying yes all the time, you move differently. You are no longer someone who is trying to get approval. You don't care about approval. You only really care about your own approval because as long as you are living a life where you're doing what makes you happy or benefit or moves you in the direction that you want your life to move in, you don't even care what people think about you. Because, the thing about people's opinions is it has nothing to do with you. It really doesn't. Your opinion is the only opinion that has anything to do with you. And so if you are going to live your life, you're going to want to live your life in a way that gets you living a life where you approve of yourself. Like that's it. You don't want to care about your parents approving of you, your spouse, significant other approving of you. That's not a focus in any part of your life. It's not about approval. It's about living your life in a way that you approve of. That's it. That's the only approval that matters. And when you start saying no, when you start having boundaries, when you start telling people, like, I don't want this, I'm not going to do that, I'm not available for this, no, I actually can't do that. When you start being someone who says no, people actually respect you more. They respect you more because your time is so valuable. You're not just a puppet that they can just push around, however. Like your time is so valuable and people will respect you more when you have boundaries. But when you don't have boundaries, people just see you as someone who is available to be used. You're someone who they can easily use, easily manipulate, easily get one over on, easily get whatever they want from. But when you have boundaries, they know that you don't allow just the basic stuff, right? Boundaries are like a fence, a wall that you put up. But it has a door. There's a door, right? Some people you accept, some people you do not. It's like a gate, I guess. Some people you'll accept and allow in, and some people you won't accept and you won't allow them in. And so when you have walls and boundaries, people are more mindful of what they have to do to get into that boundary. It reminds me of Despicable Me. I watched Despicable Me for the first time last week, and it was actually a really interesting movie. And there was a scene, without spoiling it or anything, there was a scene where the one of the main characters is trying to get over a wall to get somewhere, right? And the wall had heavy security, like every type of security, you know, weapons, lasers, all that, right? And no matter how hard he tried to climb over the weapons and, the all the things that were targeted to like prevent people from breaking in were targeted and he couldn't get over the wall. He just kept trying and trying and trying. He couldn't get over the wall, right? And that's like a boundary. No matter how hard they try, no matter if they throw a tantrum, they get pissed off, they do the silent treatment, they get upset at you. No matter what they do, it doesn't work. You have you have defenses, right? That are in place. So people who are trying to take advantage of you can't take advantage of you. And this is the key for saying no. This is why saying no is your birthright. Because when you start saying no, people respect you. People understand that you are not a toy they can just toss around. People know that if you are there, if you are present, if you're doing something, that means that you actually want to do it, as opposed to you're just doing it out of obligation. There's a difference there. Every relationship that I have now, it's intentional. And I only place my energy places where it's gonna be beneficial to me. I only put my energy if it's gonna be beneficial. That's it. If it's not gonna be beneficial, I'm not gonna put my energy in there. I'm not. And honestly, like, if you're going to just be a puppet to people, do what people tell you to do, it's going to affect you very much in life. And if you're not able to say no, you're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer in this life. This life is not meant for people pleasers. I mean, if you don't know that, right? If you don't know that this life is not meant for people, then you are a people pleaser and you're being manipulated, because manipulators are gonna target you because you're such an easy target. And that's why I teach what I teach. I teach you to break free from being a people pleaser, to break free from wanting people's approval, and to really focus on being the main character of your life. Your life only gets better. Your life only gets better. And something that I had to say no to recently is this, like having to do too much. Like sometimes I just want to rest. And when I was a people pleaser, rest was something that I didn't think was important. Like I thought it was basically like a sign of weakness and like failure when I wanted to rest. I used to think that resting was a sign of weakness, failure, not being productive, not meeting goals. But I challenged myself and I'm challenging myself, so that I don't burn out, right? That I need to rest intentionally. Every day I need to rest. And also, every week I need to have a block off day just for rest, fun activities, relaxing activities. And the thing that I used to think that if I rested, then I'm gonna miss out on something. Or if I rested, then it means that I don't, I'm not as passionate about what I want to achieve, right? Or if I rested, that I'm being lazy. And this is what I want to share with you guys. After doing that experiment where I actually took a whole day off, actually I took a day and a half off, maybe 2 days, where I did not do anything that required like me creating or being productive, right? I was just relaxing, just being. And the feedback that I have for me having that time is that it rejuvenated me. It makes it easier for me to think and to create and for me to show up more present. Because I used to think if I wanted to be productive, I need to keep going, keep going, keep going, like don't take breaks, right? And that's a notion that I've had in my head for a while. But when I started actually resting, when I actually took time to rest, something happened. It was like I didn't have to rush. It was like I gave my brain, my body, my mind a rest. Where my body, my mind, my brain, my soul could just be, right? Because, in this season, especially for someone like me who's trying to build something, right? Trying to change lives, trying to impact people, you feel as though every day you need to be on. You need to be on from morning to night, morning to night. But when you keep doing that, you're running yourself to the ground. And if you keep doing that, if you keep running yourself to the ground, you're not going to be able to actually show up as your best self. And so it's like getting that rest, it actually rejuvenates you, has you relaxing. And when you're ready to start working and, hustling, whatever it is, working, being productive, creating, having fun, it becomes easier because you already have taken time to rest. Um, and that's something that I thought was really important to share with you guys because I know my audience, most of you guys are people pleasers, most of you guys are overachievers, most of you guys are perfectionists. And so I wanted you guys to know that key rest is so important. If you can find time to rest every day and have a day off each week, you will be surprised. And if you're trying to attract or manifest or, bring more good things into your life, doing so from a place of rest is actually better and easier than doing so from a place of hustling. Because when you're hustling, when you're grinding, when you're doing all this, you are actually sending that signal that you feel like you have to work for it. But truly, when you just be in that energy and just be and exist, you're going to get inspiration to do things. You're going to have this feeling of like, okay, like this is a good thing to do right now, or this is something I'm inspired to do. When you have those moments, now it's different. It doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm slaving. I'm stuck to this computer. I'm, doing all this stuff and I'm burned out. You don't feel that way when you're creating from a place of rest. And when you're resting, it's like you trust that everything is working out. You don't need to chase. You don't need to go after things. You don't need to hustle because you trust that everything is already working out. And so if you're trying to manifest, you're trying to bring abundance, right? Bring prosperity, all this. Rest helps you do that because it signals that you're someone who doesn't need to chase. You can attract. You attract what you want. You attract the opportunities. You attract the things that are going to benefit you. So don't even worry. Don't even worry about, if you're going to be able to um, attract the life of your dreams. You will. And I used to think that I needed to work harder and, keep going, be a perfectionist, keep getting better, keep doing this, keep producing. No, I'm learning that softness is part of the process, especially if you're a mom like me. Softness helps you to achieve your dreams in a way that is sustainable, especially for moms, for women. We're not built to work like men, right? We have a different system. Like we're made differently, right? Our hormones work differently. And so if we can channel that and say, okay, as a woman, I'm not going to always be working like a slave every day. No. If we can channel that, we are more successful. So I hope that you'll find out for the night. But I do want to just hop on here, give you guys that encouragement because a lot of you guys have been asking me these questions. So I want to come here and chat. And you can always reach out to me if you're interested in any other video content. And yeah, I can work it in. But yes, have a good night. I'll see you soon.